you doing, good people? This is Dave Bit Animal. Alright, so gamers that know me, people who cross my path that know me, they know that there aren't a few things that I really consider myself a fanboy of. There are not a whole lot of series that I just jump up and down whenever a new game in the series comes out. None of that happens. Except for one particular series. It's from Konami. It has spanned pretty much every successful console to be released since the NES. And it was just announced that 2 new games in the series are going to be released for the 3DS, as well as the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3. And that series, today I'm going to talk about the very first game in that series, and that's Castlevania. Now, Castlevania, it's a classic horror story. It has all the campy monster movie characters, from the Mummy to Frankenstein's monster, Dracula. We had mermen in there, all these different creatures. They're all holed up in this one expansive castle. And this one man, Simon Belmont, ventures into the castle to fight off these monsters and put an end to Dracula's curse. Now, the Castlevania series is historically known for its really, really tough platforming and its incredible soundtrack. All of that got root in this first game. And another thing that this first Castlevania game became infamous for was the fact that this game takes place in the Middle Ages. There is a clock tower in this game. Yet, Simon Belmont's walking around in like leather and loincloth and all this other stuff. You need a tunic and a loincloth, almost looking like a barbarian, or dressed like a barbarian, when he's fighting off these monsters in the Middle Ages. And it was always peculiar to a lot of us gamers why this dude was dressed like, and back in those days we said he was dressed like a caveman. Why he was dressed like that when this game takes place in a time when most heroes were wearing armor. That's neither here nor there. Castlevania, I want to say it's about 20 levels or 20 stages. It doesn't feel like 20 stages, but each door you go through represents a stage. And so when you go through a door and the screen shifts slowly as Simon walks through that door, that's another stage transition. It was almost like a loading screen back in those days. And I think that's because this game originated on the Famicom disk system. Now, a lot of people haven't actually gotten to the end of this game without, some sort of game genie, or in these days a tool-assisted speed run, stuff like that. So, I'm not going to really spoil the ending of the game, but I will say that obviously this series continued, and obviously Simon Belmont has continued to pop up in different games. He actually, through the first 4 games in the series, spanning the 8 and 16-bit console generations, he appeared in 3 of the first 4 games, with the 3rd game in the series being a prequel. Castlevania, I recommend Castlevania to anybody who truly enjoys a good horror story, someone who may enjoy a good platformer, um, and someone who may just really enjoy their games not being extra cookie cutter and easy. It's a tough game. By and large, the games in the series aren't necessarily inexpensive titles, but that's mainly because the demand for them has historically been high. This has been the 8-Bit Animal, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow.